not going to be able to make it today. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the review here. We're just going to review what we learned before the break. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about something called standard form, which is a different way to draw a line. And then we're going to practice Wednesday and Thursday and just graphing lines. And then Friday, I don't know if we have Friday together. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I'm aiming for a Monday test. I don't have that confirmed in the calendar, so don't put that in your planners yet. As soon as I get that confirmed, I'll put it in. This review has just been posted on Google Classroom, so you can print it out. If you want the smartboard, yeah, I can do that afterwards. And next week, Monday, yeah. So a week from today. So yeah, so the test possibly is on Monday. I'll give you the confirmed date once I confirm it, but it's not confirmed, but aimed for Monday, okay? Because we actually have learned everything we need to learn. So that's pretty good. So let's just review some of this stuff. And then basically after Tuesday, it'll be review. Okay, so I'll repost the review packet soon. So let's talk about this one. Let's plot the points in the graph. So we're gonna plot these points. Can I select these? Like, no, not like an image. Okay, so we're gonna plot these points A, B, C, D, E. I recommend either opening Google Classroom on your phone as a side or just have it on a different tab because I'm gonna have it on my phone. I'm gonna graph them as I go, okay? But this is on your Google Classroom, the sheet exactly. Well, let me go to Google Classroom on my phone and do that. Okay, so we're gonna graph all these points, A, B, C, D, and label each point with the letter. So I'm gonna put the letter next to the point. So I got my 10 by 10 right here, okay? This is how your 10s or 10s gonna look like, by the way. No markings on X or Y or positive or negatives, no tick marks here. So just keep that in mind. So you gotta be able to count. If you wanna put in the numbers, that's fine, but I don't recommend it. There's no need to do that. You could just count the situation, okay? So let's go through it. Let's do A first. Where's my smartboard pen? It's over here. Let's do A first, which is 7, 5. So remember, it's X and Y. So I have to go left or right first and then up and down. Pause is 7, so I'm going to start at the origin and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right. And then 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up because it's a positive 5. So here is A. Go 7 to the right and then 5 up, okay? No need for the arrow though. That's just for me to show you my path because you can't actually see my hand. At least not clearly. I know it's in the camera, but not very clear there. Second one, B, is at 0, -3. So 0 means I don't go left or right at all. So I don't go left or right at all. So I'm just going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is B. Notice it's on the y-axis. Because x equals 0, we could know from the fact before we even graph it, it was going to be on the y-axis. Next one, C, which is 5, 0. So 5, +5, I'm going to go right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 up or down. So because I go 0 up or down, I'm already here. So this is 5, 0. And I should know that it's on the x-axis because y was 0. I know it's on the x-axis because y was 0. I don't go up nor down. Letter D, that's -3, 2. -3, 2. So this is my first negative. -3, I'm not going right, I'm going left. So -3, I'm going left. 1, 2, 3. Then up 2. 1, 2. So I'm going to put a capital D there. -3, comma 2, so left 3, up 2. We got our last letter, E, which is -4, comma -5. So I'm going to go 4 to the left and then 5 down. So start at the center. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. You got to make sure you know how to graph points, because if you don't know how to graph points, you can't do any part of this unit.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on this? I'm happy to post the smartboard, this notes afterwards too.
Hold on, I'm just writing it down.
That's fine. Okay. Okay, our next section, we're going to all do it in one graph, okay? I'll use different colors. If you want to do on separate graphs, that's fine. But the next section, 2, graph the line, we're going to all do that in one graph. Okay. All right, I'm going to the next part. Mariah, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so I'm going to the next part. I'm going to put a new graph here. So just a reminder, the next part is where to graph these lines. So section number 2, graph these lines. Okay. So the first one is x equals 3. So what does x equals 3 mean? A is x equals 3, I should say. All right. So what is x equals 3? Well, x equals 3 means that it's every spot where x equals 3. Every spot where x equals 3. So what does that mean? That means 3, 0. 3, 1. 3, 2. 3, 3. 3, 4. Technically, you go to negative also. 3, -1. 3, -2. But you should notice is a pattern. At x equals 3, it's every point where x equals 3. So every point where x equals 3, we're going to have a vertical line like this. So this black line right here is x equals 3. Every place where x equals 3, that's represented by a vertical line. Now the inverse of that, B.
But what is A? Like, I'm confused what that even means.
Oh, it's question 2A. So the A is just there from the worksheet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the A has nothing to do with the problem, my fault. So
Yeah, I got it now. Sorry.
yeah, so 2B, y equals -4. So every place where y equals -4, so that includes 0, -4, 1, -4, 2, -4, 3, -4, and so on and so forth. Notice backwards, it should be true too. -1, -4, -2, -4. So it's every place where y equals -4. So that happens to be a horizontal line where y equals -4. Remember, it's every place where y equals -4. So y equals -4 here.
Wait, every place for y equals -4, what's the rule for that?
Yes, and that's going to end up looking like a horizontal line. Y equals, what's up?
So when it's every place that where y equals -4, that means it's going to be a horizontal line?
Yeah. When it's y equals, it's going to be a horizontal line. When it's x equals, it's going to be a vertical line. Okay. For C, we have an actual equation. 3x minus 2y equals 6. Some of you might know you could change it to slope-intercept form. Because it's written like this, by the way, standard form, we'll talk about that in detail. Because it's written like this, we're going to use intercepts. Now, you have to remember what the intercepts mean. That means where it hits the x-axis and the y-axis. So we have to figure out where it hits the x-axis and the y-axis. So to figure out where it hits the y-axis, or let's do the x-axis first, because x is first in the alphabet. So where does it hit the x-axis? Remember, this right here, this horizontal axis is the x-axis. So where it hits the x-axis, that means y equals 0. So it hits the x-axis at y equals 0. So we want to figure out what happens in this equation when y equals 0. Remember, that's going to be blank, comma, 0. Blank, comma, 0. We got to fill in that blank. So I'm going to take the 0 and plug it into y. So I have 3x minus 2 times 0 equals 6. 3x equals 6 divided by 3, because 2 times 0 disappears. X equals 2. So my blank right here is going to be filled with a 2. 2 comma 0 is a coordinate point. We got to know how to graph coordinate points. So 2 comma 0, I'm going to do it in blue over here. I'm not done, because if you remember from geometry, you need 2 points to make a line. So we got 1 point in blue, which is the x-intercept, where it hits the x-axis. Now we're going to find the y-intercept. That's that vertical line in the y-axis. That's where x equals 0. Notice you don't go left or right. So we need to fill in the blank for when x equals 0. So that's 0 comma blank when x equals 0. So I'm going to take this x equals 0 and plug it into my original equation. 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 6. I took x and changed it into 0. It's not 3 times 0 times x. It's 3 times 0. This gets crossed out because it's times 0. Negative 2y equals 6 divided by negative 2 divided by negative 2. Y is going to equal negative 3. So my blank over here, back here on the left, is negative 3. So the blank is going to be filled in. So it's 0 comma negative 3. Because it's negative 3, I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, I have 2 coordinate points. Because I have 2 coordinate points, I could graph a line. Remember that from geometry. You need 2 points for a line. So I'm just going to connect the dots and go a little bit past it. This blue line right here is 3x minus 2y equals 6. So what do you have to do? You have to find the intercepts, graph those intercepts, so those 2 points, then connect the dots. So the last part's the easiest, is connect the dots in a straight line. So
Can you scroll up for a
find
second?
the intercepts, graph the intercepts, connect the dots.
Can you type that or like write it on the side? Or, like,
Sure.
There's like a lot of like words I'm just like confused.
Very quickly. Find intercepts. I'm just by INT for intercepts. Graph intercepts. Connect dots. Okay. Find the intercept, graph the intercept, then connect those dots, okay?
Mr. Terrell,
Yeah, listen, go ahead.
you scroll up for a second.
Yeah, sure. All right, let me see if I can zoom out. That's too zoomed out. Here you
Why do we need A and B?
go. Those are two separate problems.
Do what?
A was his own problem. So it was 2A was his own problem, 2B was his own problem, and 2C is his own problem. So I could just give you like on a test, I could just write x equals 3 and I'll give you your own graph for that line.
Oh, so A, B, and C don't have anything to do with each other?
No. They're three separate problems. I was kind of being lazy by doing it all on the same line graph. On a test, I will give you a graph for each part.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
My
confused. Where are we placing the 3x minus 2y equals 6? Like, where am I placing that on the graph?
Say that one more time, Mariah.
Where am I placing the 3x minus 2y equals 6 on the graph?
It's that blue line. I just put it next to it so it's labeled, but it's the blue line.
Like, what's the number for that? Like, how am I labeling it?
How do you graph it?
Yeah, it's just 2, 0.
Yeah, so 2 zeros, the blue dot right here, I'll recolor it.
Okay.
This dot right here. The 0, -3 is this red dot over here. And all I did, Mariah, after I got 2 dots, is just connect the dots. That's all. And went a little past it to show it's a line. This started what? This is 3:35, so we got 30, 15. Okay. All right, so that's some time. All right, any other questions on this?
I'm good.
Well, you're posting the recording, right? Can you post the recording or like the work?
I'll post a recording, sure. I'm already recording, so I might as well post
Yeah, and can you post the work with it also, Mr. Joel?
it. Sure.
Because my notes are like messy.
That's fine. All right, we're gonna go to number 3. Number 3 is find the slope. You don't need a graph for this one. You could graph it, by the way, but you don't necessarily need it. So I'm gonna do it without it. So find the slope of this point is 3a. So find the slope of 6, -4, and -3, -7. You need to know the slope formula. The slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What would help you remember that is rise over run. That should help you remember that. But it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let me label my points. The first coordinate here, this is x of the first group, and this is y of the first group. So it's x1 and y1. The second coordinate point is the x of the second group and the y of the second group. So it's x2, y2. So always make sure you label it to minimize mistakes. Then we set it up to solve. So we got negative, so I'm plugging in everything, so y2 goes first. -7 minus y1, which happens to be -4, over x2, which is -3, minus the x1, which is 6. On the top here, double negative makes it a positive, so that's +4. -7 plus 4 is end up going to be a -3 on top. Over here, -3 minus 6. So that's going to become a bigger negative, so you're going down the line. So that's going to be a -9. So I'm going to get -3 over -9. Let's cancel out the terms. So that's 3 over 9. And I can take out a 3 over on both sides. So 1 over 3. So my slope is 1 over 3. And we have a variable for that. We'll call it m. Not we'll call it. It is called m. So my slope is 1 over 3 after I simplify the fraction.
Mr. Tobel, I have a question.
Go ahead.
For the slope, are you going to be making us like plug it in? Like, does that mean like you go one and then you go up? I mean, then you go down.
So when we graph y equals mx plus b, you will graph it by using the slope, which is go up 1, right 3. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, like so on the test you're going to use slope as also graphing.
Yes. I should have put a graphing one of that in this review. Next time I'll put it on when I give you the chapter
Can you
test
put
review.
it on? Like, can you just add it for me or all of us?
What?
Can you just post a problem then with like then if you didn't put it on the review, can you just be like, oh, this is part of review, and then just put like maybe.
Yeah. I'm making a fresh review for you guys for your test.
All right, perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any questions on this, how to find the slope? We're not necessarily using the slope in this case, but we're finding the slope. Okay, I'm going on to the next part, which is number 4. For this line, y equals 6x minus 7, what is the slope and what is the y-intercept? This is more straightforward than it sounds. So I'm going to rewrite it here. Number 4. For the line y equals 6x minus 7, what is the slope? And what is the y-intercept? Which is A and B respectively. So that's the question we have. So how are we going to do this? Well, this is written in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. M is a slope, and the b represents a y-intercept. Okay? If that's true, then I could look at the equation here and quickly find out what is my slope. I look, it's the number next to x. The number next to x is 6, so my slope is 6. My b is the number by itself. In this case, it's -7. So b over here is -7. It's that straightforward when it's written like this. We're done. We found the slope and we found the y-intercept. It was right in front of our eyes. Any questions on that?
Thank you, Mr. Toro. Can you just print this out? Like, can you like?
We're not done, Mariah.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking.
But yes, I will. not print it out for you. I'll post this on
No,
Google
I
Classroom.
meant like you posted so I can print it out.
Yeah. All right. Number 5. Write the equation for these lines. Okay? So I'll do 5a first. Where the slope is -5 and the y-intercept is 7. So just like I said from the last equation, we had y equals mx plus b. Remember, m is my slope and b is my y-intercept. So if they told me my slope and they told me my y-intercept, I can just plug it in. Y equals -5 x plus 7. This is an equation of the line, and it asked us to write an equation of the line, so we are done. Five B though, they're trying to be a little tricky here. I'm trying to be a little tricky, not they. In this one, it's telling me that the slope is 2, but it gives me a point at 3, 5.
How do you know that the slope is 2, Mr. Tobal?
It's in the question, in part B of question number 5.
Okay, I can't see the question. I see this.
So the slope is 2 and the point is 3, 5. So while we do have our slope in this case, we don't have our y-intercept. So we're going to have to spend time finding our y-intercept. So since I still have the baseline of the equation, mx plus b, if I could fill in everything but b, I could find b. We know algebra, or the reason why algebra even exists, is to find a missing variable. We have a x, a y, and a m. So we're going to plug in an x, a y, and an m to find b. Because over here is an x and a y, and I have my slope equals 2, I'm going to plug everything in to help me find b. So y equals 5, that y becomes a 5, equals my m, which is 2, times my x. My x over here is 3, plus b. So I'm going to do some math. 2 times 3 is 6 plus b. Subtract 6 on both sides. B is going to equal -1. 5 minus 6 is -1. Now I have my slope and I have my y-intercept. My y-intercept is -1 over here. I can write my final equation. Y equals 2x minus 1. It's a -1, so I'm going to write -1. My final answer is y equals 2x minus 1. Okay? Now we're done. If you have any questions, please ask them. If you don't have any questions and you feel satisfied, have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Tobal.
No problem.
I can print it out. Thank you.
Bye.
Mr. Tobal, have a great day.
You too.